Hey, church family. As chapter 2 of John's Gospel opens up, we find Jesus and his disciples attending a wedding at Cana in Galilee, along with his mother Mary. As Jesus and his disciples and Mary are enjoying the wedding feast, a problem arises. The wine runs out. In Jesus' day, this would have been a huge social faux pas. Now, for some reason, Mary takes responsibility for this problem, and she comes to Jesus and she says, basically, fix it. Jesus is reluctant to do so, and he asks, what does this have to do with me? But, hearing his mother's plea, he responds and he acts. He tells the servants that Mary has brought, go and fill 6 stone water jars. Now, the 6 stone water jars that Jesus is referring to were used to store the purification water, the water that would be used to cleanse plates and cups and hands and feet. It was not water that you would drink, it was water that you would use to clean things. And Jesus said, go fill these 6 stone water jars, each holding about 20 to 30 gallons of water. You fill those to the brim with water. And the servants do so, and then they come back. And Jesus says, go, fill up a cup, take it to the master of the feast, and let him taste it. Now, what the servants didn't know, and what the master of the feast didn't know, and what nobody else at the party knew, was that Jesus had turned that water that was meant for cleaning things into a fine vintage wine, probably the best that anybody at the feast had ever tasted. And so the master of the ceremony, the master of the feast, tastes the wine and he's super impressed. He calls the bridegroom over and says, most people put out the good stuff first and then they save the bad stuff for later. But you have saved the best for last. And then John concludes this story in his gospel by saying that this was the first of the signs that Jesus gave and that it manifested his glory. As we read through the Gospel of John, Jesus is going to give us 7 signs, 7 miracles that point to the fact that he is the Messiah, that he is the Son of God. And here at Cana in Galilee, at a wedding, we see the first. Jesus is the Son of God. He is the Messiah. And he, like we found out in chapter 1, can transform water into wine. He can create, just like he created out of nothing, he can transform water into wine. And he can take those things that are less desirable, like this water that was supposed to be used for cleansing, something you didn't really want to drink, and turn it into something beautiful, something tasteful, something delicious, like a fine vintage wine. And in the same way, as we read through the book of John, we're going to see that Jesus runs into and encounters and experiences and relates to people who are less than desirable, people just like you and me. And as he does so, as they experience Jesus, as they get to know him, they are transformed. And their beauty is revealed. And they begin to reflect the design of their Creator, of the Messiah, of the Son of God. As you read through the book of John, look for the signs and ask yourself this question: who is Jesus and how shall I respond to him?